Everyone's happy to take a GLP-1 pen, but they're not happy to do the one simple thing that'll give them the greatest results. For the past 6 months, I've been reviewing patients who are on GLP-1s every single day. I'm probably averaging around 5 to 10. And from my experience, every single one of them are not doing the basics. So they're not even going out for a walk. They've got dogs, and I say, go and take your dog for a walk. They're not even doing that. So I'm trying to tell them that all the weight that they're losing, at least 40% of that is lean mass in their case, and they're not doing anything to combat it. So they're just too focused on how you look. And you think, oh, because they'll get down to a certain weight and they'll start exercising. That's not been the case. I've been with some of these patients now for, like I said, up to 6 months, some of them, and they're down to weights that are better than a lot of people that I know who go to the gym, and they're still not doing any movement. And I feel like they're just so fixated on how they look that it's not coming into their brain that they're depriving themselves of certain nutrients, certain vitamins and minerals. They're not going to build any muscle, so they're going to have sarcopenia later on in life. And it's just so frustrating watching it, because a lot of my consultations are done virtually. So when I'm trying to give them advice, do a bit of strength training, try and do this, they can't see how I look. So I could just be this really obese clinician giving them advice, but obviously I'm not. I do this every single day. So before I've done that workout, I've done me 20 minutes today of zone 2. I'm trying to do all these things. It doesn't get any easier for me, nor does it get any easier for those who are frequently going to the gym. Probably is even harder in my opinion, because you know what you can lift, you know what your targets are. So then if you go in and lift less weight or do less reps on a pull-up, it probably affects you more mentally. So it doesn't make sense how all these people are able to get access to such a very potent medication. And that brings me onto the body positivity movement. Years ago, big people were beautiful, which again, I've got no issue with people who want to be big, as long as you admit the fact that it's obviously not a good thing for your health from a physical point of view. And now body positivity doesn't even exist. It's just that you are poor or you're skint, basically, because you can get access to all these pens, and everyone loves being skinnier. But that again draws me on to why the health industry is, or why the fitness industry is still not the best environments, because they are still geared towards aesthetics. I've done this video in a way because obviously it shows that I have a bit of muscle, and the fact that I look okay to a lot of people. The honest thing is that biochemically I am not in the best shape, and I've told so many people so many times that I've got diabetes, heart risk, all these things. But health needs to be more than just skin deep. And that is where these GLP-1 pens, I mean, just taking the market by storm, because they're able to give people the results that they've wanted for such a long time in the easiest way possible, by one injection once a week. And the way it's going, there's a few injections on the market that are potentially going to come out where it's once a month. So 12 times a year, you're going to be stripping a lot of muscle, a lot of fat, a lot of lean mass. And that is the issue. And I feel as though in maybe 10 years' time, we're going to get a population that look okay when they're in aesthetic clothes, but they will be very, very unwell. But then I'm conflicted with GLP-1 pens. Like I said, I do give them out on the NHS, and there are certain patients that will benefit. I just don't think the average person who isn't obese, who doesn't have any genetic abnormalities in terms of diabetes or heart disease risk, they should go about it the normal way. They should go into a gym at least twice a week to strength train. They should be doing aerobic training. They should be looking after what they eat. It's not a hard thing to do, and that is why I'm also against the fact of obesity being classed as a genetic disease, because over 26% of the adult population in the UK would be classed as disease, which then leads into another issue with all politics and funding and benefits, which I am all against. I say this every single time off camera, but if I truly wanted to get across my opinions and thoughts, I probably wouldn't have a YouTube channel, because I'd probably be God knows what. I'd probably be censored in all the ways. But bottom line, don't use a GLP-1 pen, in my opinion, if you aren't diseased in the sense of diabetes or metabolic disorders. Go and do it the proper way. Yes, it is a bit of hard work, a bit of graft, but in the long term, you will thank yourselves. I spoke to a patient, this is a closing remark anyway. Spoke to a patient today who was 91 years old, and he was asking me his advice on health. He didn't take any medication. I literally give him no advice. I said, you're 3 times my age, so whatever you're doing, carry on doing it. And he brought up, he said, I've got people who are living next door to me who were 70, in the 50s, and they're all on this injection for weight loss. And I don't understand it because they inject themselves, sit on the couch, don't move. They've got a dog there that they can walk and they don't. And I said, exactly. I said, that is the issue with all these generations, is that we're led by all these influencers, all the market, aesthetics, and we're not looking 10 years past that point where we can actually see what true health is. And if people could just work in the health environment just for maybe a couple of months, they would see how disparate and how much there is in terms of health inequalities. I'll have to stop this video here before I go off on a big rant, which I could easily do about all these topics with health and nutrition, but I'm not going to. If you've got this far, thanks for watching. This was not medical advice, even though I have discussed GLP-1 pens. If you are taking them, do not stop them abruptly. Go about it the right way. Go and see a physician where they will help you come off it. And even go and see a PT and other people where they can reinstate proper lifestyle basics, where that is the root of all health, in my opinion. Put any comments below and I will see you in the next one.